welcome, bienvenidos a todos. Arikomano for joining us. Gracias, thank you, hahom. So this is our culmination session where a group of participants and I have been working on learning and practicing and using hiwatahia-taino, and they're going to be showcasing their creative projects. And what this is that I asked the participants to create a project that of their choosing. It could have been any kind of medium, and they could use the language that we've been learning in class, but they could also use more words, more phrases that they've learned on their own using the dictionary. And it was a way to get folks excited about the language, also getting folks to learn new words on their own. And so that's what all these participants did. They worked really hard on their projects. They spent time on it, practicing it, workshopping it. And so that's what you're going to be seeing today. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about hiwatahia-taino, what that is. Dairile ra, da bohio monano tan da taino hebeyono da boriken kena kuba, da traha aba ikuruku hua kena tekina, tanaho da kevia aboa boriken kena lenapehoken. So my name is Ra. My homelands, the homelands of my Taino ancestors are Boriken and Cuba. I am an artist and a teacher. And currently I live between Boriken, also known as Puerto Rico, and Lenapehoken, also known as New York City. So a little bit about this dictionary right here, this language initiative right here. This blurb that I'll be reading on the side, I have a few slides of this, was written by Christina, who's one of the participants, and Cacique Baracute. And I'm just going to read it out loud, and you can follow along. So it says, hiwatahia-taino Arawak is a modern Tainan language reconstructed by merging recorded and continuing Taino words with words from the closest Tai Maipurian Arawak languages such as Lokono, Waju, Raraujano, Paniwa, Tariana, Wapishana, and Garifuna. These languages have the closest cognates to Taino dialects. The language was founded by Cacique Jorge Baracutay Esteves and modified with the assistance of Tucadalo Jesse Hurani Marrero. Together with Higuayagua language teams, the language has taken life of its own. Next slide. Here are photos of the OGs, the trailblazers, the rock stars. We have Cacique Jorge and also Tucuda Jesse Hurani Marrero. And they are two Taino trailblazers in our community and are the folks who are responsible for this thing right here that we're talking about. So it says on the side, I'm reading the side, our goal is to create an autonomous speech for our people. Naturally, we sought advice from some of the top Arawak linguists, such as Alexandra Eichenwald, Conrad Ripka, and others. In addition, we collaborated with native Arawak speakers. The effort actually began some 35 years ago when Esteves began collecting Taino words from across the Caribbean. However, with the help of our language teams and watchful eye of Jesse Hurani, in 4 years, we were able to publish the work and begin teaching classes to our people. This is how Hiwatahia was born.
Yari, dairi lekuya, kabuhia mona tang tahino, hebeyono lekiskeya. Datraha va ikuruha kena bohiti. Danao da Givia Alu Philadelphia Leni Lenape Mohana. Hello, my name is Guya. The homeland of my Taino ancestors is Quisqueya. I am an artist and medicine person. Currently, I live in Philadelphia, Leni Lenape land.
Arikomano Kuya. So
Ata. Tabun hontan anakamwa. Rehatan wawa korotao. Wawa taiki. Tambikita. Puti. Kawona. Imobishao. Amakari abiara tan kalatini. Amakari anano tan anshiki. Amakari ukuruno. Tosa aduarano. Wow tokoa. Korish. Subule. Punaro. Wow lakan. Akontan akwaiba. Puti. Korish. Kawona. Wa akutu kiskeya. Wa hadoya kiskeya. Wa itu kiskeya. Wehi kati tukuyano. Moayabo kiskeya. Wa ibiseiro kiskeya. Wa ita kiskeya. Sheiti, haruti, kuya. Wa aduasao. Wa ahwai. Wa ita. Kale buti. Kale korish. Kale aransurish. Wa eniki. Wa hikihi. Wa bohio. Kale subule. Subule. Kawona. Kiskeya. 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 Kiskeya, kiskeya. Ata, ata, ata. Akwaiva. Ata vega.
Kuya, Arikomano, Ahom, gracias for that. That was really beautiful. Is there anything that you would like to say, Kuya, before we move on to the next person, to the next participant?
Yes, this healing song is meant to be a little longer, and I shortened it up for just this purpose. The significance of the colors in between is to draw the person who's being healed to those colors that we normally see on a day-to-day basis, but that enlighten us. They normally are colors that we feel alive whenever we see them or touch them. And so and yes, so it's meant to be much longer, but it's that was it really. And thank you everybody for coming and witnessing it.
Arikomano. Next we have Yaseli.
Miyari, hello everyone. Tairile Yaseli, Capo Hiomona tan Taino, Hebeyono le Quisqueya, Datrahaba Tequina, Kena Tequireji, Tanajo, Dakevia Aluboriken, Kena Lenapehokin. So, and thank you, Kuya. That was so beautiful to see that. For my final project, my culminating project, I decided to incorporate my love of cooking and create a little recipe, video recipe, in which I'm showing something very simple. I'm not making arroz con leche, casi que it won't be too tempting. But I am showing how to just simply boil some yuca. And as many of you know, yuca is a staple food for Tainos and has been historically for our Taino ancestors. And just for the sake of practicing the language, I wanted to keep it simple. So I created a short video recipe tutorial of how to boil yuca. So that's what I'll be showing. And you'll see in the recipe that there are some words in English. And that brings me to the conversation that Ra mentioned of translanguaging, which is a big part of the work I do as a bilingual educator. I do work within bilingual classrooms and helping teachers welcome the whole child into the classroom. And for bilingual, multilingual people, as many of you know, if you're multilingual or bilingual, we translanguage all the time. We use all of our language resources without thinking, okay, I need to be my English self at this point, or my Spanish person at this point, or my Taino self at this point, right? We use all of our language resources, and part of that has, historically, our ancestors have always been translanguaging because they've been in contact with each other. As we know, language is always evolving and growing. So for example, the word, I'm thinking of like, how would we, if colonization didn't disrupt our Taínos ancestors' way of life, right, and our language, how would we say Wi-Fi today, right? We probably would say something like Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, who knows, Wi-Fi, right? So just a small concrete example of how we translanguage and borrow from each other. So you'll see some of that because there.
Halika a aboka yuca. Heketi kunida abati korish, onion, alu, vinegar. Me abiki ka yuca. Me adayaha ka yuca. Ahebu wama wakata ka ukuru. Asawa ka yuca alu aba siwara oma sidubu ni. Abulahu biadama biadaka pirudano aneya abuya. Aboka ka oniono alukaraba biadama abaka pirudano. Eherawa oma bu saukasa vegan wabu. Arikomano.
Wepa. Now you all know how to make yuca if you didn't know how to make yuca. Miyari.
Viari, Dairi Leginet, Kabuhio Monatanda Taino, Hevillo no, la Quisqueya. I'm super nervous, y'all. I don't know why.
That's okay. That's all right.
Datraja Aba, Ikuruku Hoa, Kena Tequina, Tanajo, Dake Via, Alumohawk Mona. Taranuta Kuya. Aban, Kalikuya Semi, Tanuamuka, Eyata, waki, yaka, ahutabatan, wamuka, iyaraika, tosaharai, warikono, wariaka, wararawateya, balo, ana inaka, aban. Diyan, kalikuya semita washihi, sutukoro, wakiya tanwa, adurawaki, aniki, akanaka. Antira, wakiya anaka aka, akanaka, tanwa adabeya. Kabu, kelekuya semita matan, ainarawa. Autano, wakiya a, awarino, kena era nahawa, ausebeka, tanama. Via bokedo, alu, tokowa, jaunarawa. Yami, kelekuya semi, tanwa baina wae, wa eimano, warakaniwa, uloko, abasasura, harai, mahatubia, omaka, tukayano, sarai, usamuka, wawatano. Abaka, kelikuya semitan kekiwanei, anamokawo, alaikuta tokowaka, aitinino, alaniwani, arisa kana wontanwa, erikono, ikiraku, wakiya alinowa, oluko obani abani. Abati, kelekuya semi, tamwishiva sao, ishira sao, aka, waniyale, ishiara sao, auka, waya, wo, ouka, bu, uoka, wakiya. Taratsi, kalekuya semita nagaraka, anarahe, anuliha, amaka, kaluwalo, alu, harailo, anita, adurawasaule, hanaika. So as I said, I hadn't intended this to be a video. It really is just written text in the form of a poem, of a prayer, of a summoning. And so I also created these still images that are available to anyone and everyone who wants them. You know, it's beyond me. This is about us. And so if you are a person who's interested in having this manifesto for yourself, please reach out to us because we'll be able to support that. The format of this manifesto takes frame in the concept of the 7 rays, because my abuela, my akutu, was someone who was a practitioner of the 7 rays. And it was my first introduction to meditation. And so I thought a lot about how she believed that each of these color spectrums held an attribute to help us be better humans. And so I followed that format. And so you have 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 7, and each one having a color that corresponds to it. And so the first being the willpower. So luminous spirits of our will show us the force of our willpower, that which comes from the circle greater than the one. So we are creators in a circle. 2, color blue, luminous spirits of eternal love, remind us of our connected heartbeat, bring us back to the heart or to the beat of our womb. I was thinking a lot about that rhythm of the drum, consistency. How are we consistent in our practice? 3, green, luminous spirits of change, allow us to grow and transform like the butterfly, for we too are in perpetual change, understanding that we are always in constant transformation. And that's true for the creative process. 4, yellow, luminous spirits of agreement. I couldn't find a word for harmony. Our lips spiral into a smile, which mixed with the stars, only good moves. So how are we in harmony with one another? How are we operating from goodwill? 5, orange, luminous spirits of wisdom. May we honor all the knowings flowing through the river of our bodies. Let us flow into one another, that my wisdom is yours and yours is mine. 6, violet, dedication is dedication onto the self. We carry you, carry us. How are we disciples into our practice? How are we disciples into our bodies? 7, indigo, luminous spirits of ceremony, spacious compassion be the container in which we create. Connection is ritual. So we are all in ritual always. And I just want to extend my gratitude once again to Ra for allowing this to be the container of ritual for us in the past few months. It's been such a beauty to be immersed in our and another to lean on. It's such a life affirming and transforming process. And I think I wrote this with all of us in mind, that we are embarking in something so old, but yet so new, and just wishing and hoping for all of the beauty for all of us. So,
Harikomavu, Jeanette, thank you for this beautiful offering. And like Jeanette said, this is something that she can give to anyone who's interested. So you can, reach out to her directly, or you can reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with Jeanette if you would like to have this. Other than that, Harikomavu, Usaka Sakuda, good evening, buenas noches.